Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? You know, this is a saying that's been around for a while. I certainly did not come up with it, right? But this is something I've heard a very long time ago. This idea of why do you need to buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? And this would be said in context when talking about relationships, right? Sometimes maybe it's a guy talking about a relationship with women, right? Why do you need to get married? Why do you need to have a girlfriend? In other words, why do you need to overinvest or commit so much per se in terms of the value you want to give that person if you're getting the benefits already, right? Why do you need to step up the value you're giving someone? So if you're looking at perhaps, I'm going to talk about some boundaries in this video. So, by default, as I say, who has access to your life and who stays in your life, and the value that you settle for in life 100% is a function of your boundaries. It is. Boundaries has to do with the rules and limits we set within relationships for what we want or say we need, right, in order to stay in the relationship, because relationships are voluntary. We need to remember that. So this idea of why buy the cow when you get the milk for free. So there's a lot to be said for this in different contexts, right? So let's look at physical boundaries, sexual boundaries, right? I used to hear this saying used with this issue, right? So there's something to be said about having sex too soon in a relationships, perhaps, right? You don't know somebody too well, you have sex very early on, and there's other contexts and when it's perhaps maybe it's not a good idea to have sex with somebody early in a relationship. So just looking at the sexual boundaries, right? The expectation, what's required in order for this privilege, right? What's needed as part of this process is the point. So we are the ones who set the rules and limits for how things work within relationships, because if we do not teach people the rules and limits, what those look like, by default they're setting them for us, right? They're showing us how the relationship works. And typically, unfortunately, people who feel insecure can have very porous boundaries. Some individuals do internalize their value as having sex, or this is how they get love or attention or validation and affection. If we're just going to talk about sexual boundaries for in this video, I'm gonna mention a few other things too, not just sexual boundaries. But this definitely is something that I see happen a lot, where people might be in a relationship that's out of balance. You can say codependency on an extreme level, or just perhaps a person is not getting the value they would prefer, and they're complaining, they have all these grievances about a particular person. So let's say it's a woman with a man, and it can go both ways. It might be a man with a woman too, right? A man complaining about not getting the value he prefers. So this can happen, but let's just go with a woman who is feeling frustrated because she doesn't get the value she would prefer. She doesn't feel like a priority. Perhaps this individual is not emotionally available, etc., and other issues. But at the same time, they continue to give person access to all the privileges, all the goods and benefits, right? They're having sex with this person. Perhaps they're augmenting and contributing to this person's life in a way that is benefits to him, right? Yeah, you're a bonus, if you will. You're adding value to this other person's life. So in this sense, you're settling for a less value in return for what you're putting out. There's no reciprocity, if you will. So this can happen if we are not careful in order to not just, speak about the value we want from people, but to know what your value is. What does that even look like? What is that value? Know your value. So you hear this said a lot, and I say it too. Know your value, but it's not enough just to know it. You have to be willing to demand your value. So this takes working on feeling secure of yourself, because if you do not feel secure of yourself, you're more likely to compromise your values and needs, right? So things come at an expense, a cost to yourself, just to appease or keep another person connected with you, tethered to them, or for whatever they need, right? The situation. So whether it's sexual boundaries, perhaps financial boundaries, right? Perhaps you spend a lot of money on someone, you're helping support them, maybe, pay their cell phone bill, for example. So financial boundaries. What about time boundaries, right? Time boundaries are significant. In fact, my thoughts and opinions is that the most valuable thing anybody has is their time, 100%. When you go to a job, It's not, yes, you're being paid for a skill set to provide a service, but what you're really being paid for is your time. They're purchasing a part of your life away from you, that time you do not get back. So time with other people, right? How much time are you investing of yourself? Your resource, your time's a resource. How much of this are you putting out? Your energies. How much do you feel exhausted? Maybe it's a lot you're putting out for another person. How much do they reciprocate? How much of their time are they giving you? Because by default, as I say a lot, the only objective, measurable, and observable behavior that is quantifiable, that is the evidence for what's important to a person or what's not important, is whatever a person makes a priority or does not make a priority. Explanation, excuses aside, are not relevant here so much as a situation for evidence. So yes, whatever we prioritize to give our time and energy to is because we internalize the value of it. It's meaningful to us. It's important. And by default, regardless of the explanation, what we do not make a priority, well, it's either less important or not important at all. Explanations aside, when you just look at through a behavioral lens, right, with people. So if you find yourself in a relationship, yeah, maybe a person doesn't really see the value in needing to maybe make some changes or give you a greater value because they're getting that milk for free, right? Why are they going to buy the cow? So I think you get the idea. I could go in a lot of directions with this way of speaking about it, right? So my name's James Hunter. This is my channel. I speak about different issues, mental health, relationship issues, physical health, wellness topics in general, and other things I might want to speak to. I currently have a playlist. I'm going to be adding to it more this year, Fitness in My 50s, where I'm talking about different measures of health, not just for someone in their 50s, but for people in general. But where I'm at in my 50s as we get older, and some of those measures in terms of things we want to promote as far as longevity, reducing mortality rates of accidental death, for example, right? And so on. So if you appreciate content like this and similar topics, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel. It helps me stay motivated to continue to make more content. And also like the video, share. Again, my name's James Hunter. Today's Monday, February 19th, and I hope everyone's going to have a good week. Thank you.